When an artist wants to create the illusion of depth in a two-dimensional piece, there's a number of tools they can use. They can make background items smaller than those in the foreground by adjusting the scale. Using perspective allows the angles and planes of an object to show distance. Much like a camera lens, changing the focus separates foreground objects from the background. And creating transitions of color or value can also create the illusion of depth. This project illustrates both physical and visual depth. It's both a tunnel book that leads the viewer back through the images that change in value and in focus. It's also an accordion-style book that creates actual depth when it's opened. Now, I created this panel book with transparent CD cases. They're hinged together with wire through the open areas here on the sides. When I put this together, I made sure that the cases were all oriented the same direction with the label area down here at the bottom. The wire is loosely attached so the panels can move, but not so loose that it creates gaps. Now, the contents of the book will be called an octave. That's the term for a poem that has 8 lines. It could be an existing one, or you could write it yourself, or perhaps you'd like to use 8 lines of song lyrics. I measured my panels so I know exactly how much space I have to work within. And then I created drawings with colored pencil and pen. Now Close the Windows by Robert Frost is the poem that I've selected to work with, so I've created 4 windows. One is made on white paper, the other on black, and 2 shades of gray in between to create a value transition. Now the images will need to be viewed from both sides, so once I drew each window, I cut it out and drew it again on the other side. Now I've already begun this panel book with the front panel. Let me show you how to do this with the second panel. I brush Super Mod Podge gloss on the side that is going to go against the CD case. Create a smooth and even coating. Now I'll position that beneath the tabs as flat as I can get it, and burnish it down with my fingers. Next, I'll apply another coat of Mod Podge over the top. Going off the sides into the negative area. Now this is a self-leveling medium, so the brush strokes won't show. But just to be sure, I can take my finger, dip it in a little water, and simply smooth out the negative areas. I might need to do a little burnishing as I go along and it begins to dry, just to make sure we don't have any wrinkles. And I would repeat that on the other 2 image panels with these 2 windows. Okay, well, after measuring the label area, I'm ready to add my poetry. This could be hand lettered or created with the computer program, which is what I've done with this example. Each panel of the book will contain 1 line of the poem. There will be a front panel and a back panel. So we'll repeat what we did with the window. Down in the label area, a little Mod Podge, a little more on the back. The next line of poetry, and a little bit more Mod Podge over the top. burnish it down. Now the Mod Podge is dry, and it's lovely as it is, but I find that wrapping the edges in copper tape provides a really finished look and makes it look like glass. So to do this, I measure a length of copper foil tape. We'll be doing 3 sides on the front panel and the back panel. Now the 2 middle sides, just do the top and the bottom because it's really difficult to get the copper tape in between. To position the tape, place it in the corner, right in the middle of the panel. As centered as we can possibly get it, and then press down. Continue to unwrap the tape. Pressing down until all 3 sides have been wrapped. And then trim off the edge. You can use a rounded tool. I've got a great brush handle here to just burnish it down and make sure that it stays in place. Okay, this is what the finished book looks like when it's open, and this is what it looks like when it's closed. If you'd like to see detailed instructions, a materials list, and teaching standards, visit dickblick.com and keyword search glass panel book. Thank you for watching.